She, by herself, using her own strength, itty bitty, Megan Good, drug Corey Hardrick out of this house by herself. I'm surprised she wasn't he woman and pick him up and throw him in the back of the trunk herself. Welcome to LaVidaRosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Divorce in the Black. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I'd like for everyone to check out my website. That is linked down below where you can find cute accessories. I like the ones I'm wearing right here and right here. Check out that link down below. We're having a huge sale, so make sure you don't miss it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, y'all. So here we are again with Tyler Perry. I'm going to link my video where I talk more in depth about Tyler Perry movies and how I feel about them down below. So if y'all really want to know, y'all can check that out. And y'all, I usually can find an element of entertainment from Tyler Perry movies. The fact that they all literally have the same plot and they're just so predictable at this point. I low-key feel a little bit of nostalgia because of it. But at the same time, it's just like, can we please get something fresh? Can you please deviate from what you normally give us? Every time he drops a movie, people always say how terrible it is, how horrible of a movie it is. Sometimes I can be interested in the movie, regardless of whether the plot is terrible or whatever. But this movie, genuinely, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, this movie was terrible. It was bad. The stars of this movie, the people that are on the cover of this movie, if Blockbuster still existed and they had this movie on the shelves, Corey Hardrick and Megan Good would be on the cover. Corey Hardrick, I've seen a few things with him in it, not much, but usually when I see him in things, it's like a small role. I've never seen him like really lead. Corey was just very over the top. Like, it felt like he was trying to mimic Ike Turner and What's Love Got to Do with It, but for a parody. It was just very, very generic abusive husband number one. Like, the way he would yell and scream out of nowhere, especially like if there was a crowd around, it just, "Hey, what y'all looking at? Hey, what y'all looking at? You didn't answer my text message? What?" It was just too over the top. Now, he got that mean part down pat. Every mean inflection, every tone. I do feel like he would run up on you. I believe that part of it, but just the hollering and screaming, it just... And then we have Megan Good. And I like Megan Good in like the romantic comedy type of black movie. I like her in that role. She's pretty good in Harlem, but this dramatic role where she had to cry on cue, where she had to fight for her life, where she kind of had to play the damsel in distress or the downtrodden wife. I was talking about this on one of my live and somebody said it was giving Paula Patton level of acting, and for sure. I do feel like Tyler Perry chose Corey Hardrick and Megan Good for a reason. Obviously, both of them are divorced. In case you don't know, Megan Good is dating Jonathan Majors, who's going through a big controversy right now because of his alleged abuse on his ex-girlfriend. A lot of people are wondering why she would risk her reputation by sticking beside him while he's going through all of this turbulence in the media. And there was a recent clip that went viral of, Michael Ealy running up to her and picking her up and, hugging her, and him looking like he was very upset about it. And I feel like that just furthermore plays into the character that she played in this movie. And as far as Corey Hardrick, a lot of people did feel like Corey was to blame for his divorce with Tia Mowry, and even how he would be sometimes on their reality show that they had a long time ago, that Tia and Tamara had a long time ago. He just had a overall level of look mean. For lack of better words, he would just look mean. And then there was this interview that they had with Black Love, one particular part where he kind of like told her, I'm talking, or something like that.
Marriage is work.
And that's
marriage is work. I'm
is.
not here. Let me finish.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not gonna be.
And so it kind of plays into that as well. And I feel like Tyler Perry did this on purpose in order to drum up controversy, and I think it worked. But one thing I do appreciate about Tyler Perry, that I will always appreciate about him, is that he pays his actors. I don't know if he pays the ones on his like TV shows, the lesser known ones, but when it comes to the seasoned Black actors who have been acting for years, he is going to pay them. Okay, both Corey and Megan have said this is the most they've ever been paid to play in any role in a movie, and I thought that was amazing. And you know, shout out to them. I would just hate for this to be the role that that I got paid the big bucks for, especially because this is going to live on in infamy like the rest of Tyler Perry's movies do. But hey, get your check, I guess. With that being said, there were some bright spots in the movie. You have Debbie Morgan, who is an amazing actress. Like, she really did carry her scenes in this movie, and I really enjoyed her in it. She made it easier to get through because it was hard sometimes. It was hard, y'all. I almost couldn't finish it. I probably would not have finished it had it not been for me wanting to make a video about it. And also Richard Lawson, he was pretty good as Debbie Morgan's husband. They bounced off each other really well. I couldn't help but think, oh, that's Beyonce's ex-stepdaddy. But still, like, he was so good. But with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into the recap. And I'm going to tell y'all everything that happened, okay? I could have never predicted the first 8 minutes of this movie. I could not believe what I was watching. I almost turned it off because I'm like, what am I watching? Like, Tyler Perry, this really is on a level of, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, I know we joke around a lot, but this was absolutely nuts, psychotic, crazy. How do you even come up with something like this? So the scene opens up at a funeral, and we see Corey and Megan sitting next to each other, and she looking real nervous and scared sitting next to him. She trying to rub on his hand. He's snatching it back mad. And then we have the preacher, who is Richard Lawson, and he's up there preaching a sermon, basically saying the person that's in the casket is going to hell, and exposing his family for being thugs and hooligans at the funeral, to which the congregation is shouting in agreement. And I know that part of it might seem a little far-fetched, but trust me, in a small town, I've seen crazier things happen. So, of course, the mother on the front row is going to be upset and feel some type of way about it. Now, the mother really does feel like a off-brand Monique from the movie Precious. Like, Tyler, you might as well have called Monique. Oh, well, I forgot. They're not on the best of terms. So that's probably never going to happen. But this is so clearly a ripoff of Monique. Like, Tyler Perry should almost be ashamed of himself with that alone. It added to the parody of it all. You can never fully immerse yourself in a Tyler Perry movie. It's always some hijinks that really take you all the way out of it, because it's like, how did you find Monique's doppelganger? The mother starts going off, cussing out the pastor, cussing out the pastor's wife, and everybody, and so the pastor is like, you're lucky I even did the funeral, because he got shot trying to steal from one of our members. But then it was like, why would you even agree to do the funeral in the first place? Oh, I only did it because my daughter. Turns out his daughter is her daughter-in-law married to the son, his daughter being Megan Good. Out of respect for her, they agreed to pay for everything at the funeral. And the mother was just like, well, y'all can keep it. I don't want nothing from y'all. She literally took off her clothes and told her living sons to grab the deceased son. And no, not roll the casket out. They paid for the casket. Take the body out of the casket and put it in the pickup truck out back. Tyler, in the deepest, darkest corners of your mind, why did you think this was the right direction for this movie? I know you were looking for some shock value, even though the body is not real. To show black people desecrating a body and throwing it in the back of their truck, only to drive it home in order to bury that person in the front yard. I have never heard of anything like this. This is beyond wild. This is beyond the scope of possibility. I doubt anybody would come to this conclusion when they are grieving someone that they lost unexpectedly. So many people said they just wanted to turn it off after this scene. I'm one of those people. Y'all, I'm almost speechless. I don't even know what to say about it. It's actually so ridiculous that Tyler Perry would even go this far. This was only the first 8 minutes of the movie. Is this why the movie is not on Netflix and why it's on Amazon? Do you have too many yes people around you, Tyler Perry? Because that's what it feels like. If this is what you, being the only writer of your scripts, is getting you to the point where you're scraping up ideas like this, maybe it's time to stop writing. If you don't want to get no help in the writer's room, it's time. Because this is officially gone too far. It's crazy. The fact that the people in the movie read that and continued to act in it, child, I hope he paid you well. I really do. They take off with the body in the trunk of their truck. Ava talks to her parents. Her parents just don't understand why she sticks around and stays with this man. He was never good enough for her. And she was like, well, I was taught to stand by my husband no matter what. Clearly, this is the good girl who married the bad boy with potential trope, right? You know, comes from the wrong side of the tracks. He wasn't raised, he just survived type of vibe. She wants him to be better, but he doesn't even want that for his own self. She's always to blame for any of the issues that he has in his life, and he feels like she's always trying to change him. So like I said, they took his body back to the mom's property in order to bury him, child. And he is sitting up in this old school truck, and she's trying to comfort him by bringing up memories of them growing up. They were high school sweethearts, and he told her, you better get up out of this truck or I'll drag you, and you know I'll do it. Now, this was a part where I'm like, Corey, you did that a little bit too well. She had the nerve to go to her car and still wait on him. So she waits so long for him and didn't even realize that he had left her already. And apparently he rolled out to the bar with his brothers, and the barkeep called her and said he's at it again. So this is something that he clearly does. He goes out and gets too drunk, and him and his brother start acting rowdy. They're all menaces to society. And so she has to go pick him up. She runs into an old friend named Benji. And this is somebody that she kind of almost had a flame with back in the day. But it turns out that her current day husband, Dallas, and his brothers beat up Benji back in the day whenever she was liking him. So they never had a chance to explore that. And so present day, he comes out and sees her talking to him, and they threaten to jump him once again. He gets away, and she tells him, you're drunk, let's go. So he starts arguing with her because he wants to drive the car even though he's drunk. And she told the brother, look, brother, please get him. Y'all already lost one brother, and now he's trying to drive. So the other brother put him in a chokehold until he got the keys so she could drive them home. And I'm just like, you really gonna send him away with her knowing how he is? But I'm like, I guess he the same way. So then, later that night, he was so drunk that he confessed to his father. Then he starts talking about how he knows he's not good enough for her, and he treats her bad because of it. We see a pattern of her best friend keeps telling her, you deserve better. You don't need to be with him. You can leave him. But she's pretty much like, I don't want to hear it. I'm married. I'm going to stick beside him. This is what a good wife would do. He's a good man, Savannah. He's just having a hard time. So the next day she comes home from work. This man has already been drinking, and he's in there talking to himself. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. Talking to himself out loud. Just crazy. they're on their way to a double date with her best friend and her husband. And she's like, look, I just need 45 minutes to get ready. I want to take a shower and everything so I can look cute. And she comes down in barely 30 minutes, and this man had already left her. And see, this is exactly why I don't do double dates. Like, if we're already friends, we've already been hanging out, we cool, that's different. But I don't like to do... Some couples are really toxic and they don't mind causing a scene. And that's exactly what happened. So he comes in without her, and the best friend is like, where is Ava? Like, we were supposed to be here together. Finally, she goes outside to call her, and she pulls up a few minutes later. He starts cussing out all black women and saying how black women do not support black men and we deserve better and all that. And it's definitely giving Kevin Samuels follower. And then he starts screaming for a divorce in the middle of the restaurant. And this is one of the most unbelievable scenes. Like, I can't even mimic what he was doing. It just, I want a divorce. You need to go to the lawyer and sign the papers. I'm tired of this. I'm not going to give you alimony because you got a good bank job. Banging on the table, causing a scene. So obviously she's upset. She's hurt. She's saying how she'll never be able to get another man because she's 40. And he told her that no man in the world wants 40-year-old vagina. And I'm just like, what? I feel like in this day and age, women more so than any other time know their value past a certain age. But I ain't gonna lie, growing up in a small town and, you know, growing up in church, sometimes you could be very naive and you could believe the things that people are telling you because you don't really have much experience outside of your sheltered environment. So to a certain extent, I could believe that. But I'm just like, I don't know, women of this day and age should know better than that, because people find love at any age, and we see it all the time. So she's so hurt, depressed, and distraught that she goes back to her childhood home. And in her childhood bedroom, there are like 15 pictures of Will Smith on the wall, like as the Fresh Prince. And I'm just like, there are no other decorations in this room to make it seem like this was how your room was when you were a kid. So I'm like, is this Will Smith propaganda? Because, you know, he's really been trying to insert himself into black culture heavy ever since that slap happened. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, this really does feel like propaganda, because, yeah, maybe one poster of him, but it was like several. And it was only in one spot over her bed. There were literally no other decorations. So before she went home, her friend wrote down every terrible thing that Dallas had ever done to her. And her mother ended up finding that letter, and she read in it that he had beat on her and spit on her before. And so she was just sitting there just wailing and crying and hurt, like, what have I done? She apologizes for not being there for her enough and not affirming her enough. She felt like if she would give her too many praises, then she would be a cocky, conceited person. She wanted her to be humble, but really it did the opposite and made her feel less than. And she felt like she served everybody in the church except for her own daughter. She just kept asking Megan, why would you put up with this? And she was like, she didn't want to give up on marriage because of how her parents have been together for so long and how they speak about marriage and say, you don't just give up on marriage. You stick through it, through the good times and the bad times. The mama pretty much was like, you took that over the top. I wasn't talking about this. This scene, I feel like, was one of the best scenes, pretty much because of Debbie Morgan, because her acting was so good, because I feel like it came off really realistic and authentic. So the dad ends up coming in at the end of their conversation and asking what was wrong, because both of them were like holding each other and crying, and the mom was like, we're having our period, and he was like, you still having your period? Y'all, that part was funny. I ain't gonna lie, it was so funny. The dad ended up taking her to the store, and he set it up to where Benji would be there at the same time. And he set it up to where Benji, the savior of the Tyler Perry movie, to come save the broken, battered woman and rescue her from that villain over there and be her knight in shining armor, okay? Because there's no way a woman could be happy without a man. So the dad pretty much was trying to set her up with Benji and being very overt about it. And it's like, why would she be ready to move on that quick? She literally just got served papers yesterday. You know, the daddy was just laying it on thick. even preaching about it in his sermon. Like, it was a bit much. Benji has always been interested in her, so he's playing along with it. And he said that he's a divorcee and he has a daughter. So it's like, you should know better than anybody that right now she is not ready to move on to somebody else. So why are you in cahoots with the family, being pushy and trying to push yourself on her? Some of his actions in this movie really didn't make sense to me at all. So then they go home and watch these home videos. Apparently the dad just so happened to capture every happy moment she's ever had from her childhood on film and edited them all together in sequence and told her, these are the times where you were smiling. Now I only have pieces of film where you're not happy, starting with your wedding, where your husband's mom was acting a fool, slapped the bouquet out of your hand, and ruined the whole wedding. And we haven't seen a smile from you since. Now look, this part of it was so heavy-handed, because it's like, even though he treated her bad, there are times where I'm sure she's had a smile on her face, whether it was a fake smile or not. So then her and her parents go to the fair, and she just so happens to catch Benji being a good father. And I guess that sparked some sort of interest in her. And so they just go dip off together. And he gets her that drink that they talked about earlier. You know, talk about old times, like when Dallas and his brothers jumped him and put him in the hospital. Then he had the nerve to say, well, things are different now. You're safe anywhere with me. Sir, didn't you almost get jumped at the beginning of this movie? So she gets drunk and she wants to fool around or whatever. And he turns around and kisses her on the forehead and says that he's never going to take advantage of her in a drunken state like this. And, you know, you're too vulnerable and I don't want to go there with you. But look down. You see, I do want to do it. But I'm going to have some self-control that I'm not. I'm like, what am I watching? He said, once we get together, I want your mind on nobody but me. I don't want you to be still concerned about your ex or anybody else. And it's like, well, why not let her heal first? Why are you even participating at all? You know what I'm saying? You should be giving her space, but you want to have your cake and eat it too and still seem like, oh, I'm not trying to push you to do anything. He's still being pushy, if you ask me. After her trip home, she feels refreshed and she goes back to work. I guess one of Dallas's brothers were at that carnival and took a picture of Ava and Benji together, and for whatever reason this set Dallas off. I don't know why he's mad and upset, because you are the one who wants a divorce from her. Remember? So Dallas comes up to her job and once again causes a scene. She's sitting there with clients and he's going on, I can't believe you with Benji, you was cheating on him with me, or whatever he was saying. And just acting a fool, cussing and going off. He cussed the friend out and everything else. And yes, once again, the acting was terrible. It just seemed like a evil James Evans came to life and performed on Saturday Night Live or something. Like, it just was awful. I done sent you 10 text messages and I told you to sign them papers. And then the friend was trying to tell him he need to get out. He was like, do you want to lose your job, B? Corey, I don't know what direction you were taking with this movie. I thought you were a much better actor than this. I was so embarrassed. So then the friend pulled her to the side like, girl, go ahead and sign these papers and take this man for everything he got. And Ava turned around to her like, what do he got? Remember, she married potential. So then she showed up to the mediation with no lawyer present and didn't even read any of the agreement, just signed everything. And I'm just like, if this were a real movie, this would come back to bite her, because not only did you didn't even sit down and read it yourself, let alone have legal counsel there. Why were the friends there? Are the friends lawyers and I don't know about it? I thought her girlfriend was a banker. Is her husband a lawyer? That didn't make any sense. Yeah, they had a lawyer sitting at the head of the table, but you need your own lawyer there to make sure that you are not being cheated. What if he put in there, you owe me alimony, you just signing on the dotted line? But this is Tyler Perry universe, so that's how easy it is to get a divorce, apparently. Her friend ends up throwing her a divorce party, including strippers, weed gummies, and Benji, of course. And so Benji ends up taking her home. Just yesterday, Benji was like, I want to give you your space. You need time to heal. I want you to only be focused on me whenever we get together. Now, all of a sudden, Benji done had a complete change of heart. Even though he's supposed to be this good guy, after she got drunk and is high at this party, brings her home and says, well, I'm not going to hold myself back this time. This time he want to go ahead and sleep with her. And she told him, if we do this, this is all that it will be between us. This is all I want at this time. I'm trying to take care of myself. I don't want a man. And he's like, cool. I'm like, Benji, what was the whole point of that? You might as well did it the other day with her. Like, is he supposed to be a good man? Like, what? I'm not getting that from him. He's giving red flags. He's giving, I'm the good guy, but really he's self-serving, pretending to be a good guy. You know, so they end up doing the nasty or whatever, and they wake up in her hideous bedspread. Y'all, what was that? I hated her comforter. It was so ugly. Every time I saw it, it was an eyesore. So she kisses his forehead and is about to leave to go to work. I'm like, you just gonna leave this man in your house? Like, I know you have known him for years, but you just got done dealing with a fool. Why would you leave somebody in your house? She walks downstairs and we see Dallas at the table eating cereal aggressively. So apparently she had changed all the locks and he still found a way to get in because, you know, he come from a criminal background. Even though he got that text message showing that she was talking to Benji, he decided he wanted to come back and give her a shot again at love with him. Out of nowhere, she completely grew a backbone, okay? And became Xena Warrior Princess. And was all up in his face telling him all about himself. I guess because her hero was upstairs. Maybe she felt confident. I don't know. It's funny because even he questioned it. He was like, where did all this come from? Because, y'all, I could see her developing that sort of attitude towards him. But it happened too quick. It just didn't even make any sense. It was just like a split personality almost. Not only did Dallas refuse to leave, but he was like, I'm finna go upstairs and take a shower because this is my house. This is my house. I'm finna go upstairs and take a shower. And he had no clue Benji was there. So I guess Benji's truck was not in the driveway or parked in front of the house. He had no idea he was there. He walks up and catches him in the bed and literally they get to tussling, right? First of all, Dallas was getting the best of him, okay? I thought Benji was finna lose. I'm like, ain't Benji got muscles and work on the farm? He seemed like he could take Dallas easily. I guess because he got woken up out of his sleep fighting, maybe he was thrown off a little bit, but he ended up putting him in a headlock and choking him to sleep. Then, now to me, this is one of the most unbelievable parts of this movie. She, by herself, using her own strength, itty bitty, Megan Good, drug Corey Hardrick out of this house by herself. And I'm not just talking about from the couch to the front door. I'm talking about from upstairs in the bedroom, down the hallway, down the stairs, all the way to the front door. The whole time she's screaming, I told you to leave me alone. I told you to leave me alone. I bet you wish you didn't take a shower now. I bet you not. Screaming the whole way. You're telling me not one time did she get tired? Now, I know your adrenaline can get to going. You can kind of do some superhuman things during that time. But I just cannot believe, with her lack of muscle definition in her arm, that she would be able to drag that man out the house. And then finally needed help to actually put him in the car. I'm surprised she wasn't He-Woman and pick him up and throw him in the back of the trunk herself. So she has Benji carry him to the truck, put him in the truck. She punched him and slapped him a few times and then slammed the truck so hard that she broke the glass in the window. Is this the Marvel universe and I didn't know it? Do she have WandaVision powers and they didn't tell us? She felt like it was a good idea to just leave him in the truck in the driveway. and unseriously went to work right after. Even Benji was like, do we need to call the police? Like, don't we need to do something about this? This man just said, I'm good. I'm going to work. He ain't going to come back. So she goes to work and tell her friend everything that happens. And the friend was like, you need to get a restraining order against him. She was able to get a restraining order the same day. Once again, only in Tyler Perry's world can a woman get a restraining order that quick. Or am I wrong, y'all? I thought it was hard to get a restraining order. I didn't think you could get one. Oh, I just want a restraining order. And you just get one. That's when we find out that he is sitting outside, I guess, waiting for her to come out of her job. And the friend calls her husband to go talk to Dallas. The friend husband, he been useless this entire movie. Mind you, the friend husband is supposed to be friends with Dallas. And it's like, even after knowing everything you know about Dallas, he didn't put his hands on her. He treat that girl bad. You still friends with him? That was a huge question mark for me until we get to later on in the movie. Dallas upset and mad, saying this girl been cheating on him the whole time with Benji and he just didn't know it. He was like, but you divorced her. He was like, it don't matter. Why are you taking her side? But he ended up leaving. There were so many unnecessary scenes. Like, what was the point of that scene? For him to be sitting out there, he didn't even interact with Ava at all. Just for the friend to come over there and talk to him and him just take off to leave. And yes, I realized he went to poison Benji's animals. I get that part of it. The movie has a hard time making connections. So like I said, he went and poisoned all of his cows and animals. I could not believe they had a scene with cows just laying out on the grass. Was that CGI? So meanwhile, her daddy is putting up cameras around her house and literally gave her a whole arsenal of guns because she's gonna need it with this fool running around. So later on, her friend, the friend husband, Benji, and Ava are all out on a date. I just don't understand how Dallas keep bogarting in people's house. Like, do y'all not lock the door? Like, does he have a key to y'all house? How does he just barge into places where he's not invited consistently? And he's coming in talking about, I want to talk to my friend. I want to talk to my friend. Ava's friend is saying, I'm going to call the police because you're violating her restraining order by even being this close to her. Pretty much, the friend husband has been useless this whole movie. I don't even understand why he was written into the script. I don't get the point of their storyline at all, especially the fact that Dallas exposes the fact that he's cheating on his wife, which holds no weight at all. Really doesn't get addressed again. Is that supposed to be the reason why he's still friends with Dallas in spite of Dallas being so crazy? There was no, like, literally the husband in the movie didn't even have to exist. Like, did you put him in the movie in order to make the movie longer? Like, to pad screen time? Is that your cousin and you just wanted to give him a role? I don't know, but his role in the movie made no sense. You know, at least we thought the friend had a good husband until we found out that he was a trash cheater too. And then allowed Dallas to cuss his wife out and didn't rough him up, didn't tell him to go sit down. Like, he threatened to do something, but this your house and this man is barking at your wife and you don't have nothing to say. You ain't gonna try to fight him, nothing. Like, child, you better leave him. If this was the real world, you better leave him. He ain't even trying to defend you in any kind of way. So at one point when Dallas is having his rampage, he goes and finds Ava's mom in the supermarket and is putting his hands on her, roughing her up, grabbing her up. The mama really wasn't backing down either. She was just scared. But once she finally got away from him, she running and going off on him. You ain't nothing. I knew you wasn't good for my daughter. But steady running. That part was funny. But when the daddy caught wind of that, see, the daddy didn't know he put hands on his daughter because the mom and Ava kept that away from him. When he got wind from the cashier, because y'all know it's a small town, when he heard that Dallas had put his hands on his wife, he rolled out expeditiously. To be real, Ava's daddy is one of the only people in this movie that stood on business, okay? The mama was crying, no, don't go, don't do this. She's wailing, crying, and travailing, calling Ava, stop your daddy. But it was too late because the daddy had already made it to Dallas's mama's house where Dallas was and had the chance to shoot him. pulled out the gun. Dallas was taunting him like, I know you ain't gonna shoot me. Shoot me. And then, you know, he did a countdown like 3, 2, 1. Like, I bet you ain't gonna do it. And he didn't do it. And in Tyler Perry's world, this man didn't even think that his brothers would be somewhere close by ready to help fight for him. So obviously when he didn't shoot Dallas, they shot him. They was about to take him out. The mama stopped him. So by the time Ava got there with Benji, I guess they put him back in the truck, similar to what happened with him. So they're in the hospital with the police officer. The officer is like, we can't arrest him because we don't have no proof. He said he didn't do it. The dad hasn't woken up yet, so he can't give his side of the story. And while they're having this conversation with the cops, even though they're in this tiny hospital room, they didn't hear Ava get up and leave. Y'all didn't hear her shuffle around? Benji was standing pretty much right next to her. She got out quick enough to where she could slip out without them noticing and stole Benji's truck. So now add Ninja to the list because clearly Ava turned into a superhero in this movie and we just didn't know it. At this point, Ava calls Dallas and starts taunting him, trying to lure him to her house. That obviously brought him to her house. She continues to taunt him to the point where he beats her up and throws her across the room. And he said to her that his father, because he used to beat his mom up. The same thing he was doing to Ava, his dad did to his mom. So, of course, she has been recording everything this entire time. And so she got his confession on tape, the fact that he beat her up. And as he was about to come to her to finish her off, she picks up her rifle, threatens to shoot him, and he starts taunting her the same way that he taunted her dad with. But she wasn't bluffing, and she shot him with that rifle, and he flew back so far. Oh, that was funny. He flew back so far, and next thing you know, they're at the hospital. We find out that he did end up passing away. They're wheeling her dad out in a wheelchair, and he's like, I don't need this wheelchair. I can walk. Didn't he just get shot in his leg? How? Anyway, Dallas' mom and her brothers are standing outside, basically saying this ain't over, this ain't over. Basically, Ava got all hard at this point, saying you already lost 2 of your sons. You don't want to lose another one. So it was, y'all, this movie was bad. This movie was bad. Nothing added up. It was just a bunch of random scenes thrown together. Just a bunch of ideas that were not fully fleshed out. So many loose ends. Like, did she end up with Benji? What is old girl gonna do about her cheater husband? Why even bring that up if we're not gonna address that? It was never truly addressed why or how Dallas took out his father. Why was Dallas wearing that tired afro? I don't know, y'all, but y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below. Did you agree with me? Did you not agree with me? I'd love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.